as I switch on to the UK oil. On the UK oil as well, we were able to enjoy that move. We saw the rejection of the 104 level during the course of yesterday's session, and we were able to take this move from here into where we are right now. So we have right about how many pips in profit right now? Over 450 pips, over 400 pips in profit right now. And we are still aiming at our TP target zone, which falls within the $110 and the $113 area. So let's see how price is going to play out. But the first thing I'll be saying at this point is, if you are already in this trade, kudos to you. That's number one. And then secondly, you want to move your stop loss to protect some profits that you have made so far here on the UK oil. So what we want to be doing is to move our stop loss right below the $106 level, where we want to see how price action is going to relate with that level going forward. Now, if we look left, we can see that this area at one point in time has been a selling niche. We have one here. We had multiple rejection of this level at the $107 mark. Then we have another multiple rejection here during the mid-month of July. Here we had multiple rejection of the $107 mark area as well. And then during the early days of this week, we saw multiple rejection of that same level, giving us a clue into how that area is very, very strong for selling opportunities. However, the structure that we have here during the early hours of today appears to be giving us a clue into how strong the buyers are becoming over the last 24 hours. As this move here appears to have broken out of that structure, but we still need further confirmation in the form of an engulfing candle to take us out of that zone, to give us that signal that we might be having a selling, a bullish potential coming in very soon. So with the structure we have here at this point in time, if you had missed that move from here, then how do we intend taking advantage of any other potential opportunity coming in for us this week? Well, the first thing I want to be doing at this point is to connect the series together, this level that has been a supply niche in the past. And to do that, we want to bring out my line chart, and then we connect those points together, which appears to be falling right around the $107. I think $107 area appears to be most appropriate. Yes, I think we have the $107 area. Okay. So let's identify that level. We have the $107 mark. Let's place it at the center. No, I want to place it at the center. $107 level. Okay, so that here we go. So this is what we are going to be looking out for now going into the New York session. So we now have a key level that will guide our action, and we know what our key level does for us. Our key level helps us to gauge our actions. If price continues to oscillate right above that key level, we want to be taking a buy opportunity, a buy trade. And if price oscillates right below the key level, we want to be taking a selling opportunity. But for me on this one, I'm looking at the long-term perspective, and on the long-term perspective, from the structure we have here at this point, it's looking more bullish. So we want to be looking to take advantage of any bullish potential right above that key level. That is, after price moves further up, we could still expect price to move further up into this. Remember, our take profit target zone is around here, but if it doesn't get to that area, but if we see price do a retracement back into this level at any point in time during the New York session, it could be another opportunity to add more position to your trade. And if you are not in that trade already, this could be an area you could be looking out for to take advantage of a trend continuation to the upside. And remember, what we want to be looking out for at this point is a reversal pattern on the lower time frame. It could be a double bottom structure, inverse head and shoulder pattern, whatever reversal pattern that is that supports a trend move to the upside. You want to take advantage of that move. Then the other scenario is there could be a possibility that, okay, before I do that, let me identify another parameter that could also be our guide. And if we look at what has been happening since, just like what we have on the US oil, since on the 14th of July, we saw our price moved out from the zone at the $95 mark area. And since then, price is yet to come back to that level as a multiple rejection was observed around the $101 mark before we saw price continue to find higher highs and higher lows. So what I want to be doing is to connect the series of higher lows at this point. So to do that, we bring out my line chart and then we connect those points together to give us a bullish trend line that we shall be using to guide our action going forward. So going back to our line chart at this point, so we want to see price come back to do a retest of that bullish trend line. We don't know where price is going to end here, so it depends on the structure that price action evolves into. But one thing I want to be looking out for is price come back into either the $107 level or probably this bullish trend line, or it could even come as far as testing the $104 mark before we see a reversal pattern that will push price to the upside from here. So this is the scenario I'm looking out for on the UK oil. And one thing we want to be wary about is that if it happens, we see a breakdown of that bullish trend line, that is a significant breakdown of that bullish trend line, which also moves below the $104 level, which is the key level, then a retest of that $107 level or the bullish trend line should be sending price crashing to the downside. So these are the things these parameters do for us. It helps us to be on the right track. So that's why I used to say that you might want to screenshot my screen so that you can use that as a reference point whenever you making your own individual decision. So this is the scenario I'm looking out for on the US oil. So let's see how price action plays out in the next couple of hours. And remember, our take profit target is still within this level. So if we are taking the new trading opportunity, that is price continue to respect this bullish trend line, then our take profit target should be right around the supply zone here, which is around the $120 mark, which has been respected for quite a while. Since I think in the last 3 months now, it has been respected. So this is what I'm looking out for here. And if you also look further into, okay, so we are waiting for price to break out of that, give us that significant move out of that $107 mark. Then we wait for a retest of structure to join the trend continuation. So this is what we are looking out for on the UK oil. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to drop it in the comment section. I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds off now to read the chats to see if there are any questions. Hello, hi Max, good morning to you. Gailos, good morning. So let's move on to the next pair. So yesterday we deliberated on the GBP/USD, which was quite a very profitable trade for us. GBP/USD moved as expected, and we were able to take advantage of that bullish move. You can see our price continue to respect that bullish trend line. Let me quickly take you through our expectations yesterday. We were able to identify this bullish trend line, which was supposed to be our parameter for yesterday's New York session. And luckily for us, price respected that bullish trend line. We saw the rejection of that level, and then I think we were here during the New York session. So I think we were around here yesterday, and we were waiting for a rejection of that level to push price to the upside, and price actually moved as expected. I was able to close my position with about 140 pips. And remember, I told you let our take profit target be around this supply niche here, and you can see what happened around that area. It appears we saw multiple rejection around that level before we saw this huge candle moving to the downside from there, and that's giving me a sign that we might be going into a retracement move right now. And another structure we want to be looking out for is this. Remember, we identified this bearish trend line during the course of, I think, was it not last week's trading session? We saw this bullish trend, this bearish trend line here. And one thing that happened during the course of yesterday's trading session is that we had the breakout of that structure. This move was actually due to the FOMC news yesterday and the interest rate decision that happened yesterday. And one thing I always say about technical analysis is that the technical analysis will definitely inform you of what is happening. It's like understanding the psychology of the participants in that particular market and how they react to price action, how they react to market structure is like a trail of what is intended to happen and which actually happened as expected. So we now saw a breakout of that bearish trend line. So definitely from a technical perspective, when we see a breakout of structure, what do we expect? We expect price to come back to do a retest of structure, which will come in the form of this. It might come back to respect that bullish trend line or come back to respect the bearish trend line as well. You can see that that level here share a confluence, the bullish and the bearish trend line share a confluence, and at the same time the previous supply niche appears to be becoming a demand zone now. So we want to see price come back into the structure. It could be anywhere. It could be inside the supply zone at 1.2 area. It could be this bullish trend line. It could be the bearish trend line. But one thing we want to be seeing to give us that confirmation is the reversal pattern. It's not just testing it. We want to see a reversal pattern around that area, like a double bottom structure, and then we join the rally to the upside. So if that happens and price comes back into this bullish trend line or the bearish trend line, then we want to be looking forward to taking that move to the upside. I'll be advising that from that area, if price comes into this area, we want to be looking at this area at our first step of the target zone, that is the 1.22 area, which was the supply niche before. And then if price now breaks out of that supply niche, hold on a second, if price breaks out of that supply niche, we want to look for confirmation in the form of a retest of that area one more time. Then we could add more position to our trade if we sight another reversal pattern right above that level. And our take profit target should fall around the 1.23 for now. And the reason why that is because we have a bearish trend line here, which is a major one we identified on the daily time frame. If you want to see, let me go to the daily time frame so that you can see what I'm talking about. So we have the bearish trend line here, which we're expecting price to come back to do a respect one more time before we see a move to the downside, or we could be having a breakout of that structure. So this is what I'm looking out for here on the GBP USD. Then the other scenario we want to be looking out for is the possibility of a selling momentum. And if we are going to be looking for a selling momentum here, one thing I will be saying here is this: we want to be patient to wait out for price to come back down, break down this bearish trend line, this bullish trend line, break down this bullish trend line. Then a retest of that trend line should give us confirmation that we are going to the downside. So we don't want to be too excited. We don't want to be in a hurry. We want to be patient to wait for structures to align in our favor. And remember, we want to wait for signals to be confirmed. Once we see a signal, we are not getting too excited. We want to wait for that signal to give us confirmation in the form of a retest of structure, after which we will join the momentum drive direction. So that is that on the GBP USD. If you have any question, feel free to drop it in the comment section and let's see how we can help you. So then we moved on to talk about the XAUUSD as well, which was also a very profitable trade for us yesterday. Price moved as expected. We had two scenarios for the XAUUSD yesterday. The first scenario is that we want to see a breakdown of this area, of this bearish trend line, a retest of structure to the downside, but that never happened. And during the course of yesterday, we were able to identify this demand zone. We saw what happened since the beginning of the week. We saw price has continued to reject this level. You see buyers continue to push price away from the $1,715 level. We saw multiple rejection of this level in the last 72 hours, and that gives us further clue that we might be going bullish. And one thing we did was to identify that key level at 1,720 as a level where above that area is most comfortable to take advantage of a bullish move. And lo and behold, what happened yesterday? We saw price did a breakout, a little breakout of that structure. Price came back to do a retest of that bearish trend line, the demand zone as well, and then we saw that huge expansion right into the $1,745 area, where personally that's where my take profit target was. And if you had also taken advantage of that move, kudos to you as you did. And what are we going to be expecting as we go into the New York session today? One thing I want us to be waiting for is we already have a bullish trend line that has been holding price action supported for a while. I think since the beginning of the month, I guess. No, okay, since on the 15th of July, price has been respecting that bullish trend line. Let me give you a visual representation of what I am talking about here. We saw our price continue to respect that bullish trend line since on the 15th of July, though we had a breakdown of that structure which appears to be false. Then we saw that huge move to the upside, and price continued to respect that same area before we saw this move to the upside. So one thing I want us to be looking out for is a retest of structure. So right now we have a breakout. We already have a breakout giving us that signal already, and one thing I want us to be looking out for is price to come back to do a retest of that bullish trend line. It could be the key level. It depends on where it is. But one thing we want to be sure of is that this zone appears to be an area we want to be looking for buying opportunity. So if price comes back down here to do a retest of that bullish trend line or this key level here, we want to wait for a reversal pattern to happen. It could be on your 1 hour, it could be on your lower time frame. When it happens, we want to take advantage of a trend continuation to the upside from here. So if that happens, our take profit target should be at the resistance of this bearish trend line, at least for the meantime, which will probably dovetail into about 3,000 pips to catch here if price move as expected. So I want us to be patient here. If you are taking this move yesterday, kudos to you. But if you are not, then I want you to be patient enough to wait for price to do a retracement into our golden zone area. And let's see, let us use our golden zone area to identify our buy opportunity. So our golden zone area is an area between the 50 and the 78.6 level. So we don't know. I think this impulse leg has ended. So let's just aim between the 50 and the 78.6% area as an area we want to be looking for our buying opportunity. So then let's just identify that area. So we have buying zone around this area. Okay, we have it in, and let's give this a yellow. Good. So that's what we have. So we expect price to come into this area that is between the $1,720 mark and the $1,730 area for us to take advantage of a bullish trend continuation. So let's see how price action plays out during the New York session. So that is for gold. So for me, I want to wait for price to come back into that buying zone to take advantage of a move to the upside. And well, for those who are short-term traders, that is scalpers, or those who take trades on lower time frame, well, you might want to take advantage of that counter trend opportunity that is enjoying the move from here into this area, which will dovetail to about 1,500 pips if price moves significantly well. So if that happens, you want to take advantage of that, and the only way you can take advantage of that is by scaling down to a much lower time frame, like the 15 minutes time frame, where we want to identify a breakdown of that pattern. And we have a pattern like this, then you want to look out for a breakdown, retest of that trend line, then you want to join that decline into that buying zone. But for me personally, I will say that we should just hold on for that buy opportunity right within this area, as it is a long-term perspective decision. But if you're a counter trend trader, you're a scalper, you might want to take quick profits, then look out for a breakdown retest of this structure, then you could join that decline to the downside from there. So that is the scenario we are looking out for on the XAUSD today. So tomorrow we shall be doing a follow-up on this one, and then let's move on to, if you have questions, drop in the comment section, drop it in the comment section. Ultra Grind 90, you're welcome around. Scott Benji says US Tech 100. Of course, we will treat it. I think we did US Tech yesterday, and price moved significantly against us. It didn't move as expected, but I will be sharing my insights into it in a moment. So let's finish with the one we have here. And then on the Euro USD as well, we have that same scenario that happened yesterday. We had that move to the upside from this level, and unfortunately price has come back into that key level again. So I would just say for this one, let us pass this trade, as this level here has been a major determinant of price action. We saw our price has rejected the supply zone since the beginning of last week, and then price is back into that key level at 1.020. So one thing I'll be saying is, let's just allow the participants in this market to settle following the release yesterday, which sent a lot of wave into the market. So let's the wave die down, and then we now decide what to do. So I'll be advising that we pass this trade. But if you are taking advantage of that move yesterday, I know you have locked in some profit, because I left very early when I saw this reversal structure happening around this area here. So let's see how this one plays out. So by tomorrow, whatever happens, I will be giving you an update in that regard. Then I have one trade I want to share with you guys for today, which I'm already in already. That is the GBP card. I'm already in profit in this one, and the reason why I'm taking a selling potential here, let's go up into the 4 hours time frame. Let's see what is happening on the 4 hours time frame. On the 4 hours time frame, we notice our price has been respecting that bearish trend line since I think the beginning of the year thereabout, and then we saw the breakdown of this demand zone. Price came into this area, and we saw price come back to do a retest of this bullish trend line, of this bearish trend line. So at this point, there are two possibilities that could have happened. We could have seen a breakout of structure, or we could have seen a retest of structure to send price crashing to the downside. So when I scale down to the 1 hour time frame, what did I see? Is it 1 hour or 15 minutes? I think on the 15 minutes. Yes, on the 15 minutes time frame, I was able to identify a reversal pattern along that bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. Around this area, we saw our price has continued to reject that area in the last 12 hours. We saw the first rejection, we saw the second rejection, we saw the third rejection, fourth rejection. Then I knew buyers are not able to push price to the upside, so I set a pending order right at 1.5590, which pushed price to the downside from here. So one thing I want to be advising us all to do at this point is to wait for a retracement move, which I think is going to happen in the next couple of hours. And to do that, I want to identify a key level that will guide our action. So we have a key level sitting at 1.55800 area, which shall be our yardstick going forward. Let me give this a gold color as usual. So we have a key level sitting at 1.55800 level. which I will be placing at the top right hand side of my screen. Okay, so we have something like this. So I'm expecting price to do a retracement back into the zone, possible into the zone. Then I want to look out for reversal patterns in lower time frame to join the decline to the downside from here. So this is the scenario I'm looking out for on the GBP card. So let's see how price action plays out in the next couple of hours as we wait for that retracement phase to happen. So I'm waiting for that retracement move to happen. So if you had missed that move, let's wait for price to come back to do a retest of the key level at 1.55800 area before we can join the decline. So if we have joined at this area, let our take profit target be at around the demand zone here, this area that has been a demand level in the past. So around this area moves appropriate for our take profit target, and that is that. If you have any questions, drop it in the comment section. So let's quickly do the US tech. I think I have like 3 minutes. Let's do US tech. Like I said yesterday, we had a scenario on the US tech. We're actually expecting that selling momentum to happen, but unfortunately price went the other way. Remember our analysis on US tech 2 days ago was we took this move to the downside. Hold on a second. We took this move here to the downside from here, which is about how many pips profit? We took that about 230 pips. Then we were expecting price to come back into this level, which also shares a confluence with a bearish trend line to take advantage of this move to the downside yesterday. And unfortunately, we were stopped out. Price went back and took us out of that trade and giving us well, I'm still not going to be buying the idea of longing this pair at the moment, and the reason is because of this. Let me show you what I mean here. We have the key level. We have a key level here at 12,350. I'm not sure if that level will still hold, but let's see what structure has given us. Now, if we look left, we can see that this area at $12,700 mark appears to be a selling niche. And if we look at that structure closely, we initially had a reversal pattern there, and again now it appears price is rejecting that same level at this point, giving us a clue into the selling power around that area. So one thing I want to be looking out for at this point is a further confirmation that we are going bearish to join this decline to the downside. However, if we do have a breakout of this $12,700 level, that is price breaks out of that structure, that is price takes out all the selling positions around this area, then that could give us a signal that we might be going further bullish. Then remember, we don't want to get too excited at the sight of a signal, as we want to wait for confirmation in the form of a retest of structure price coming back into our structure, forming a reversal pattern on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the upside before we want to join that rally. Now, with the structure around the $12,700 mark, we saw the first rejection during the course of the early days of this week, and then we saw another rejection during the New York session yesterday, and price has been trending to the downside from that area. So I want to look out for structures here that will support that downtrend move. And to do that, we want to scale down to a much lower time frame. It could be our 1 hour time frame. Let's see what's happening on the 1 hour time frame. So on the 1 hour time frame, what do we have here? Okay, let's go down to the 15 minutes to see what structure is giving us. All right, so on the 15 minutes, it becomes a little bit clearer. And what do I mean by a little bit clearer? Let's bring out our line chart at this point, and we want to connect, because we can see that since price tested the $12,700 mark, it had been caught up in a consolidation phase around here, where participants are actually waiting for a catalyst to push price either way so that they can join that rally or decline. Now, we want to identify that channel at this point so that we can use it as our yardstick going into the New York session today. So the resistance point falls around this area. So I want to be giving this a purple to differentiate it from our key level. And then we have another one here, which is, so we have a channel here, which was, okay, hold on a second. So we have a channel here. Between here and here is a channel. And then what do we see? We saw a breakdown of the channel. And what does that tell you? That's a signal that we are going bearish. And remember, we didn't get too excited at the sight of a signal. We want to wait for price to come back to do a retest of structure, and it has happened. And we want to look out for reversal patterns here on lower time frame. It could be your 5 minutes, your 10 minutes, your 1 minute time frame. We look out for reversal patterns. We look out for structures. It could be your double top structure. It could be your head and shoulder pattern. It could be your rising wedge, flag pattern, whatever it is. Then we look out for that patterns, breakout of structure that will send price crashing to the downside. So in the meantime, I want us to be aiming at the key level here at 12,350 area. And the reason why I'm stating that is this: if we look left, we can see that this area at one point in time being a demand zone in the past. So there is a possibility that price could come back into this area and we could have a move to the upside from here. And if that happens, let's have our take profit around this area at least for the meantime. And if we do have a breakdown retest of this level, then we could take advantage of the trend continuation to the downside. So if we are aiming at this area, then we want to be seeing around 1,500 pips to catch here if you're moving in this direction. So let's wait for this reversal pattern to happen around this area. Hold on a second. Around the 12,550, 12,500 area. I want the reversal pattern to happen here. Then we can join that decline to the downside from here. So that is that on the US tech. I want to go to the 1 hour time frame and see what the structure is having. Okay, that's what we're having. So like I said, if we further have a breakdown of that key level, remember we have a key level of 12,350. So if we have a further breakdown of that key level, then we want to wait for confirmations in the form of a retest of that structure. Then we want to join the decline into the support level of the ascending channel. If you haven't forgotten, we have an ascending channel on the higher time frame. Let me show you where that is. So that's the ascending channel on the higher time frame. So we want to see price come into this level as our long-term take profit target for any selling momentum here. So that is that on the US tech. I don't know if you have any question. Feel free to drop it in the comment section. Scott Benji, I hope you are okay with my explanation. All right. So let's quickly do a recap of what we discussed so far today. The first pair we deliberated on was the US oil, and we were able to take some profit here on the US oil as prices still running in our favor. Our take profit target still remains around the $100 mark area, and we have already moved our stop loss right below the $98 mark. And let's see how price action is going to play out during the New York session. I was able to give you two scenarios here on the US oil where I'm expecting a further breakout of that bearish trend line, a retest of structure. It could be a retest of this trend, of this bearish trend line or this bullish trend line, or probably the key level at $98, after which we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. Then the other scenario I made mention of is that there could be a possibility where price breaks through that demand zone, that temporary demand zone, down into the downside, into the major demand level here, which also shares a confluence with the key level at $95.50, after which we want to be looking for reversal pattern here that will send price going to the upside. So my perspective on the long term is still bullish on the US oil, and I explained to you why that is, as the bearish momentum continue to reduce as time goes by. And so because of this, we were able to identify this bullish trend line, and we expect price to continue to respect both this bullish trend line going forward. Then we went on to explain a scenario, same scenario on the UK oil as well. And the first thing we did here was to identify this temporary bullish trend line. And I told you to move your stop loss below this level at $106 mark, as we're already in profit already, and we don't want to get our position stopped out in the opposite way. So we want to wait for price to come back. If you had missed this move yesterday, this move to the upside, if you have missed it, then you want to be patient enough to wait for price to come back to do either a retest of this $107 level or this bullish trend line, after which we look out for reversal patterns that support a trend continuation to the upside. Our take profit target still remains around the 113 and the $110 area, which is where I'm looking out for the week. Then we moved on to the GBP USD, where we were able to make some money on the GBP USD yesterday as well. We were able to take our profit as price continued to respect that bullish trend line. Now, for those who are yet to take advantage of this move, or those who intend still trading this pair for this week, I have identified the bullish trend line here, and we have a bearish trend line here, which shares a very significant confluence, where we will be looking out for trading opportunities in the form of a retest of that structure, price coming down to retest, giving us a reversal pattern here on this trend lines, after which we want to take that move to the upside from here. And one thing I said here is that we don't want to be too over ambitious. We already made money on the GBP USD, and let's keep the profits we have. So the first thing we'll be doing is to allow our take profit target to fall around the 1.22 area, which, if we look left, 1.22 area around here. And the reason why that is, if we look left, this area has been a supply niche in the past, and we never can tell price could be reject that level to the downside from there. So we want to have our take profit there at the moment, and then if we see a breakout of that structure, a retest of structure should give us further confirmation to join the rally into the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. Then we moved on to the XAUSD, where we're expecting the same scenario, and we have that bullish trend line guiding our action here. And I was able to identify a buy zone, after which after locating our golden zone area, which is between the 50 and the 78.6% of the previous impulse leg here. So we are looking for price to come back into this buy opportunity zone. It could respect that bullish trend line or the key level here at $1,720 before we now join the rally to the upside from here. So take profit target, where will it be? We said we should be aiming at around the 1,750 area, which is also the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. So this is where we are looking at for the week, and let's see how price action plays out. Then I was able to give you a new pair to trade, and that's a GBP card, where I'm already in the trade already, I told you. And I was able to identify a key level for you at 1.5580 area, where we are looking forward to take advantage of a trend continuation from there. So price has moved, break down that key level. So we want to see price come back to do a retest of that key level. And if you look closely, we can see that that key level shares a confluence with the bearish trend line here, which is supporting that bearish move. So I want to see price come back into this level, do a structural reversal pattern to send price crashing to the downside from here. So this is what we are looking out for on the GBP card. So be patient enough to wait for price to come back into that level so we can take advantage of that move. Then Scott Benji told us to look at US Tech, which is a pair we looked at yesterday. Excuse me. With the current structure we have on the US Tech, I'm still expecting that bearish momentum, and that is after scaling down to the 15 minutes time frame here on the US Tech. We were able to identify a channel here which was broken during the early hours of today, and we expect a retest of structure to join the decline to the downside. So I think the most appropriate place to join this decline is around this area, right below this level. So let's see how price action plays out. And I told you take profit target should be around this area, at least for the meantime, which dovetail to, I think, about 1,500 pip. And the reason why we are having our take profit here is because if we look left, we can see that this area at one point in time being a level that has served as a demand structure. Now, I also emphasized when we scale up a little to the 1 hour time frame on the US Tech, I also emphasized that if we further see a breakdown of this key level at $12,350, a retest of the structure should give us further confirmation to join the decline with the aim of having a take profit target at the resistance at the support level of the ascending channel. So these are the pairs we are looking out for the New York session today. I think we're able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs again today, which is quite an enormous opportunity lining up for us during the New York session today. And one thing I want to be saying is we don't get too excited at the sight of a signal. When we see a bearish engulfing candle in our direction or a bullish engulfing candle, we want to wait for price to come back to do a retest of the structure before we join the prior leading price actions direction. So on this note, I want to wish you best of luck during the New York session today, and I hope to see you tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. West African time, 10 a.m. UTC, same place, Extreme Speed Live, so that we can come here and review how well whatever we have done today has been so far. So on this note, thank you very much and do have a wonderful day. Bye bye.